Yesterday, Kamala Harris, also known as Scamala, announced who her VP pick will be. And with that pick, her fraud is now over, or her facade is now over. She can no longer be in the moderate lane in any position. She instead chose the extreme wing, smacking Josh Shapiro to the ground in pursuit of a governor that says that America is fundamentally racist and has his wife trying her best to keep the window open during the 2020 BLM protests where the city was burning to the ground so she can quote unquote smell the anger of black people and the disdain that they have for whites. Her words, not mine. With that being said, this is a very, very extreme person, and actually I think this is a gift from above, right? A gift from above, because now Kamala Harris has just lost out on the moderate position voters. She just lost out on those voters altogether. She ran away as far as she could get from the middle position. She ran all the way to the left that she's about to fall off the cliff now because of the fact that the facade that she had about her giving up all of her former positions, about her not wanting to end fracking, and about her wanting all of these different extreme positions to just be gone. And she's like, no, I don't agree with that. No, that was so many years ago. Of course I changed my positions. She says this, but then at the same exact time, she chooses this governor, Tim Walz, I should say. And Tim Walz does not actually want to keep producing fossil fuels. So again, in every single position that she has, Tim Walz agrees with the other side of things. So she's like, oh, no, I don't agree with ending fracking. He does. Why did you choose him then? Because this is a big facade that you're trying to create for the American people, lying to our face as if we cannot see right through your fake smile and your fake annoying laughter, as if we cannot tell what is truth and what is fiction. We obviously know that you're lying to us. We know that you want to push preposterous ideals on the American people, preposterous positions that will actually bankrupt America in the long run. Of course, you're going to keep on doing these positions, keep on pushing these positions, but in reality, or at least on the stand and on the stage, you're sitting here saying, oh, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Yes, you do. Stop lying to us. So, moving on to this Daily Wire article here, we have the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, and has a track record of supporting aggressive anti-fossil fuel energy policies over the course of his political career. Walz has supported policies such as cap and trade in clean energy mandates over his career at the United States House of Representatives and his time as governor in the state of Minnesota. Some of Walz's most aggressive positions on energy have come in the past few years, as Walz had led the state in California-style makeover of his energy policies. If you like the record prices and sky-high inflation delivered by the Biden-Harris energy agenda, you're going to love Tim Walz, said Daniel Turner, founder and executive director of the Power of the Future. As governor, Tim Walz based his agenda on failed California model, which may endear him to Kamala Harris, but not to struggling families. Kamala Harris's cast and tie breaking vote for the failed Inflation Reduction Act, and in picking Tim Walz, it looks like she wants to just another green rubber stamp. Walz began his career in government in 2007, getting elected as a rural Minnesota district in the House of Representatives in 2019. Walz left the House to take the governor's seat. He was re-elected as Minnesota's governor in 2022. Here's a few of Walz's most controversial stances on energy and climate policy over the course of his career. Cap and trade. Just 2 years into his role at the United States House of Representatives, Walz, under pressure from the Obama administration, voted in support of the 2009 Waxman-Markey cap and trade bill. The bill passed the House, but died in the Senate, leaving Democrats from moderate districts to defend the unpopular legislation. Walz later downplayed his support of the climate legislation by saying that he never expected cap and trade, which refers to the creation of the system for emissions credits to trade up and cap the overall amount of emissions to be part of the final bill, which does not make any sense at all, because now we have China having no cap and trade, having no caps on anything, not even regulating what goes into their water, not regulating what goes into the air. How are we going to compete with that when we have to charge these companies all the money for their producing made in America? It just does not make any sense. And then we're going to sit here and say, these big corporations are nickel and diming us. No, they're not nickel and diming you. You, the government organizations, you, the government bureaucracy, are charging these companies to the high heavens for prices and fees that they do not need to be paying. And guess what? This is a breaking news. If you are driving, pull over. If you are standing, sit down. This is breaking, right? If the company pays more money in fees, right, you, the consumer, is going to pay the fees. The company is not. You really think the company's going to take a hit? No. What they're going to do is they're going to charge you, the consumer, you, the customer, and you, the American citizen that does not even have enough money to afford food. Why would we sit here and charge the companies more money? Like, what are we talking about here? It just does not make any sense whatsoever. This is an upside down reality that we're sadly living in, right? We also have him putting California in the driver's seat of a Minnesota's car industry. So in 2021, Walz embraced California-style emission standards for Minnesota's car industry. The governor's administration used executive rule-making authorities to tie Minnesota's emission standards to California's. The practical impact of the ruling is to force Minnesota car makers and dealers to stock more electric vehicles for purchase, regardless of the demand for them by consumers, which does not make any sense because we're going to sit here and we're going to say, okay, well, we can fit 100 cars on the lot, but 60% of them have to be electric. But then the 40%, so now what are we going to do? We're going to sit here and try to sell those 60% of cars which nobody wants. I wouldn't want to sit there at an electric charging station for hours and hours. Even if it is an hour, I don't have time for that. I'm a delivery driver on the side. I'm using my car 24/7. I don't have time to be sitting at the electric car station. I have time to stop at the gas station for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Maybe I'll grab a drink while I'm in there. Maybe I'll grab a snack while I'm at the gas station. But an hour? I don't have an hour to spend. What am I going to do for an hour in the middle of my job? I don't have a break. I'm keeping working all day. So I don't have time to be sitting there for an hour to be charging my car. And yeah, I'm in the minority of people that actually has a house. I don't have an apartment. I don't live in the city. I live in a town. So yes, I have the ability to plug in my car outside of my house. But for the majority of Americans, that's not the reality that they're living in. They're living in an apartment, so they don't have the plug-in station, or if they do have a plug-in station, it's slow, it's expensive, it doesn't really work all that property, or there's only 2 or 3 of them. So now not everybody can get a charging station. So of course, he's also purging fossil fuels from Minnesota's grid. So Walz signed legislation in 2023 committing Minnesota's utility companies to drawing 100% of their electricity from renewable sources by 2040. In signing the law, Walz cited the threat for, quote, climate change. Climate change impacts the lives and livelihoods in every corner of the state. He said in a statement at the time, Minnesota will continue to lead the way in combating climate change and will create clean energy jobs in the process. Yeah, of course. So you really think that we can get 100% of our energy from what? From solar panels? Yeah, okay. If you own a solar panel, you would know that you do not get most of your energy from solar. You do not. You really don't. The reality is that you need to sit here and you're like, oh, well, let me use less electric just because of the fact that I have the solar panels. If you have a pool, that's just it. Like if you have an AC, if you have the electric dryer for your clothes, you're done. You cannot use the solar panels to power those things. You're going to end up paying money in the summer. And let's just say that if you during the winter don't use all that much electric, then you can be producing that more electric. But the thing is, what if there's snow on your solar panels? Then it just stays there. So it's like you're not even producing in the winter. Those are the times that you're using less electric. So it's not really working out for you. So it just doesn't make any sense. What are we going to put a windmill in our backyard and a solar panel on our roof on every single building in America? You know how many birds are going to die? We talked about this. When you're actually producing a solar panel, right? In the solar panel, the windmill, when you're producing the windmill and you have the land for the windmill and the windmill is actually turning, trying to create energy, it's actually whacking the birds out of the sky. They fall and it's killing bald eagles at an unproportionate rate. So it's just crazy that we're killing these animals just flying in the sky, not even realizing, and boom, how is that eco-friendly? Just doesn't make any sense. Moving on to the next article from the Daily Wire, we have Tim Walz, right? This is a whole entire deep dive onto Tim Walz. Trans 6-year-olds, custody battles, and tampons for boys. Tim Walz's record on kids and gender ideology. Like I said, he's not in the moderate position whatsoever. Tim Walz may have a manner of kindly Western dad, but when it comes to protecting the country's children from transgender medical interventions, Walz is not interested. In fact, he wants the opposite. Vice President Kamala Harris tapped Minnesota governor for the running weight. The Walz signed a cluster of legislation in April of 2023 that established Minnesota as a haven for children who want puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and transgender surgeries. Just disgusting. This is a tweet directly from him. Here in Minnesota, we stand with our trans youth against hateful laws and damaging rhetoric. Our work is to ensure all Minnesotans, especially our trans neighbors, are safe, valued, and respected. Continues. One law Walz signed into Minnesota to seize custody of a child who whose parents refuse to provide, quote, gender-affirming care, which is not gender-affirming care, it's actually just mutilation of the body, a court of the state has temporarily emergency conjunction if the child is present in a state and the child has been unable to obtain gender-affirming health care, the bill reads. The same law says Minnesota will refuse to help if another state is trying to remove a child from his or her parents because the parents are subjecting the child to hormone treatments or surgeries. So that's just saying that you're not going to cooperate with another state trying to protect the child, which is just the state is actually doing the protection services now. It just doesn't make any sense. Minnesota, you have so many other problems at your hand and you choose to focus on this. It's just stupid. We're also protecting young and vulnerable Minnesotans from harmful and discredited practice of conversion therapy, which does not make any sense because conversion therapy is just the aspect of knowing what you are. So let's just say what you are born as is exactly what you will be talking about. Let's just say as a guy, you're going to say, okay, well, let me actually just, before you move on with anything, let me just show you how awesome it is and how awesome you are as a person and how much you actually matter. Let's go do something fun. Let's go do something. So let's just say if you are a girl and you're getting quote unquote conversion therapy in the old classical sense, this is what will actually happen. If you're getting conversion therapy, what will happen is that if you're a girl, you go to the salon, you'll have a spa day, you'll get your nails done, you'll get your hair blown out, and you'll look beautiful, you'll look nice. You'll realize that, okay, this is actually fun. I don't think that I should do anything about this. I'm happy for the person that I am. I look beautiful. I appreciate myself. Have a little bit of self-confidence in yourself. And then of course with the men, we're gonna go and we're gonna say, okay, let's go to the gym. Let's work out over here. Let's go for a run. Let's have a good time. Let's go to the basketball court. Let's actually just have a good time here. And that's exactly what they're gonna do. And this is what they're so scared of. What is the deal with you being scared of actually showing people what they actually are and showing people that they matter, showing people that they actually have a chance at life, and having the self-confidence to actually just go along with what you already are born as. I mean, yes, it's 100% true that there's some deviations of things. So let's just say that a guy would wear makeup, but then the guy says that they are a man still. That's fine. There's some lines that can be crossed, but then there's still the reality that you're still a man no matter what you say. A man can wear a dress. It doesn't make the man a woman, and a woman can wear guy clothes, or a woman can go to the gym, or a woman can go and smoke a cigar. It doesn't mean that they are a man. I mean, this is such a reality that we should live with. And of course, in the aspect of what we once did, we used to just look at people and say, okay, that's a woman. We just looked at people and say, okay, this is a man. But the thing is, right now, what we're doing here is we're confusing the two. On the liberal side and the leftist side, we're confusing what it actually means to be a woman, and we're confusing what it actually means to be a man. What you need to realize is that you can't change that whatsoever. You cannot change the fact that you were born as a man. You cannot change the fact that you were born as a woman. So of course you can do different things. It does not change the fact that that is your sex, that is your gender, and you cannot change that. Sex and gender, yes, is the same exact thing. People are saying, oh no, it's different in what you perceive yourself as. Shut up. It just does not make any sense at all. It's the same exact thing. You are born as an XX or an XY. Of course, there's a 0.001% of the population that goes through the fact that they have XX chromosomes when they're actually a woman, but that's a small minority of people, a really small minority of people. We do not talk about the small minority of people because of the fact that it does not matter. The small majority of people, I mean the minority of people, are not going to be the case. It's going to be the objection to the rule. It's not going to be the rule. That's exactly what people are not understanding here. So moving on to the next article, I mean obviously this isn't even half the things that Tim Walz actually stands for. We're going to continue, right? Tim Walz actually created a DEI council that said America was systematically racist. So Minnesota Governor Tim Walz pushed the far left diversity, equity, and inclusion, which actually spells DIE, which is die, agenda on his state as one of the first actions in his office, creating a diversity council that deranged America as systematically racist and pushed for anti-racist practices as a solution for whiteness, which does not make any sense. The solution to whiteness is leaving the situation alone, leaving the race problem alone, leave it alone and shut up. That's the solution here. Shortly after assuming office in January of 2019, Walz signed his first executive order creating one Minnesota county on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Disparities in Minnesota, including those based on race, geography, and economic status, keep our entire state from reaching its full potential, Walz said at the time, which doesn't make any sense because, like I said, or like common sense says, black, white, Latino, Chinese Americans can do all the same exact things in America. There's not one thing that somebody can do that another person cannot do in America. Tell me one thing that one person goes through. I mean, obviously there's different situations and there's different lives that people have, of course. But the thing is, everybody has the same equal opportunity. Yes, it might be more easy for a person that already has a family that has a business to get a job because their son or daughter would just work for the corporation that the family owns. Okay. But the thing is, what's stopping you from creating your own business in America? You go to the IRS website and you can create your business for free online. You can just create a business, start doing things to do for that business, and there you go. You have a business. What's stopping you from creating a business? Nothing. Create your business, be successful, and that's it. I mean, of course, everybody starts with an idea, and then the idea is what turns into the reality, and that's exactly what generational wealth comes from, in the success, in the prosperity for your children and stuff like that. That's exactly where that comes from. So, moving on to the next article, we actually have a Daily Wire article. Now we're straying away from Matt Gaetz just a little bit here, and we're going to be talking about Comer. Comer announces a probe into whether Harris did anything to address the border crisis at all. So the GOP-led House is embarking on an investigation into Vice President Kamala Harris over her role in the Biden administration's struggle to get a grip on the border crisis. House Oversight Chairman James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, announced the probe on Tuesday in a letter addressed to the United States Customs and Border Protection (BP) senior official performing the duties of the commissioner, Troy Miller, requesting documents and communications between CBP and the Executive Office of the Vice President related to the Southwest border or illegal immigration. Of course, it's exactly what we should be doing. We should be investigating whether or not Kamala Harris did actually anything to fix a border, because she's going to try to make the claim that she tried her best and she couldn't get a grasp on it, but yada, 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 yada. But I don't want to hear all of the excuses that she has because of the fact that she had one job. She had literally one job. She was the border czar. Does not matter what people are saying. Oh, she wasn't the border czar because there's not an actual department in the United States government for border czar. No, a border czar means that you are in charge of the border, and that in fact happened. Joe Biden put Kamala Harris in charge of the border. This is very true. This is exactly what Joe Biden said. The problem, President Joe Biden tasked Kamala Harris with leading efforts to deal with Mexico and other countries to stem the tide of migration to the southern United States border in 2021. At the time, Harris said the government must, quote, address the root causes that cause people to make the trek. Harris faced criticism, and particularly from Republicans in years since, as problems from migration persisted. Quote, it's unclear what actions, if any, Vice President Kamala Harris has taken to fix the border crisis, Comer wrote. Rather, she has claimed that we have a secure border that is a priority for the nation. The committee seeks to understand whether Vice President Kamala Harris has done anything at all to address the worst border crisis in American history. No, she didn't. Short answer. She also did not go to the border because she says that she also didn't go to Europe. So Europe and the border, same thing, right? Comer was alluding to the quote published by the New York Post, in which an unnamed Border Patrol agent said that Harris hasn't literally done anything. She came to the border once and sanitized all the aliens out of here to make it look good. Of course, yeah. So I do remember that. That was a few short years ago, and they actually banned everyone from being on the streets. They cleaned up the streets. They cleaned up all the poop in one day. And then boom, she comes, photo op, videos. Oh my God, everything's good at the border, guys. And then move out. And then as soon as they move out, boom, collapsed. And then all of the green screens came down, all of the easels came down, all of the cops went out of their way to actually say, oh, come back in the city, guys. If you can move them out in one day for the vice president and all the cameras, why can't you do that on an everyday basis? It's because they do not care about you, the American people. They only care about themselves, because of the fact that Kamala Harris is for herself, not you. Remember this in November. I'm gonna keep talking about this. Remember her in November. She hates you. Tim Walz hates you too. If you're white, he hates you. If you're black, then I guess he likes you then. I'm not even sure how this even is supposed to work in the leftist. Like, you like certain people, but you don't like other people because it's quote unquote systematically racist. Doesn't make any sense at all. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.